I'm Caroline Simpkins, a former professional ballerina turned researcher, and today we're diving into a powerful piece of research that takes a closer look at how body image and nutrition knowledge intersect in the lives of collegiate dancers. The study we are exploring is called Negative Body Image and Limited Nutrition Knowledge Among Collegiate Dancers Signals Need for Screening and Support. It was published in the Journal of Dance Medicine and Science in 2024, and it brings up some eye-opening findings that are worth talking about. Dance is a world of strength, creativity, and expression, but it also comes with intense scrutiny, especially around appearance. Studio mirrors aren't just tools for improving form, they're also constant reminders of how dancers look. Unsurprisingly, dancers face a higher risk for disordered eating. Some studies estimate that nearly 1 in 3 dancers may be at risk of developing clinical eating disorders. Now, imagine layering on top of that college life. You've got academic stress, social comparisons, and a brand new level of independence, all happening while dancers are also pushing their bodies to the limit. The result? A perfect storm for body image struggles and poor eating habits. Here's something a lot of people don't realize. Many collegiate dancers don't meet their basic nutritional needs. Often it's not even intentional. It's rooted in misinformation, perfectionism, or just a lack of access to qualified guidance. This can lead to a condition called relative energy deficiency in sport, or RED-S. It's when the body doesn't get enough fuel to keep all its systems running, affecting hormones, bone health, and athletic performance. And unfortunately, a lot of dancers just don't know the warning signs. The study we're discussing today found that dancers with more disordered eating habits tended to have lower nutrition knowledge. That's a dangerous combination. But here's the encouraging part. When dancers do get accurate, credible nutrition information, especially from professionals like registered dietitian nutritionists, they're not only receptive, they actually want to learn more. That means there's real potential for change. So how did this study work? Researchers recruited about 100 dance majors from a public university in East Texas. To be eligible, dancers had to be 18 or older and enrolled as dance majors. The participants filled out an anonymous online survey and were invited to a follow-up session at the university's nutrition center. That in-person visit included body measurements and a body image assessment using silhouette drawings. So let's talk about the numbers and the findings. First, on nutrition knowledge, 33 dancers took the quiz. What was the average score? Just 43% correct, and only 12% scored higher than 60%. Even those who'd taken a formal nutrition class didn't score much better, only about 3 points higher. And where were dancers getting their nutrition advice? Mostly from peers and family. Less than 15% had ever spoken with a registered dietitian. And that's a red flag. When students are relying on unqualified sources or social media influencers for nutrition tips, the risk of misinformation skyrockets. Now let's get into eating behaviors. Using a screening tool called the EAT26, researchers found that about 19% of participants met the clinical threshold for eating disorder risk, all of them female. These dancers reported behaviors like laxative use, frequent dieting, calorie tracking, and feeling overweight, even with healthy or underweight BMIs. But disordered habits weren't limited to those who crossed the clinical line. 41% were currently dieting, nearly 40% said they often felt fat, and 23% were focused on burning calories during exercise. These aren't just numbers. They reflect real stress, anxiety, and internal pressure many dancers feel about their bodies. Now, another key finding was that 26% of the female dancers had delayed menarche. That is, they started menstruating later than average. This can be a sign of low energy availability, and it's a hallmark symptom of RED-S. When the body doesn't get enough fuel, reproductive function is one of the first systems to shut down. That's a major warning sign, especially in young, otherwise healthy women. So here's where things get especially interesting. The researchers asked the dancers to pick body silhouettes that reflected how they see themselves now, how they want to look, and what they think others find attractive. Most of the female dancers overestimated their body size, believing they were heavier than they actually were. On average, their real BMI was around 22, but they perceived it to be around 23. And they said their their ideal BMI was closer to 21. That's a clear example of body distortion and dissatisfaction. And when the male participants were asked to pick their ideal female body size, they actually chose significantly larger figures than the women picked for themselves. So female dancers may be chasing a body ideal that even their male peers don't expect or prefer. Only 7 male dancers completed the full study, but their results followed a different pattern. Their actual and perceived BMIs were closely aligned, and their ideal body size was actually larger than both. That's in line with broader research showing that men in performance-based sports often chase muscularity, not thinness. Still, that doesn't mean that male dancers are off the hook. They face different pressures, like being strong enough to lift their partners, and may still struggle with eating and body image in ways that aren't as visible or as frequently discussed. This study makes one thing crystal clear. We need better education and stronger support systems in college dance programs. Here are a few key takeaways. Nutrition education is essential, and it should come from professionals who understand both performance and health, not TikTok and not word of mouth. Screening tools like the EAT 26 can help identify dancers who may be at risk before things escalate into full-blown disorders. Routine check-ins with a registered dietitian nutritionist could fill the current knowledge gap. Nutritionists can offer tailored guidance based on dancers' needs, including performance, recovery, and long-term health. They play a huge role in setting the tone of the dance environment. When they model healthy attitudes and promote evidence-based nutrition, it sends a powerful message to students. And interventions must be sex-specific. What works for female dancers won't necessarily work for male dancers, and vice versa. Both need support, just in different ways. In the end, this research is a bit of a wake-up call. Dancers are incredibly dedicated athletes and artists, but they can't perform at their best if they're underfed, overstressed, or silently struggling with body image. Colleges and dance departments need to treat nutrition and mental health as foundational, not optional, parts of training. Because when dancers are educated, supported, and seen as whole people, not just performers, they don't just survive the college years, they can truly thrive. And that wraps up our deep dive into the complex relationship between body image, nutrition knowledge, and overall well-being in collegiate dancers. It's a topic that deserves more attention, and I hope today's discussion helped shed some light on the unique challenges ballet dancers face both inside and outside the studio. If you are interested in exploring the research further or want to read the full study for yourself, be sure to check out the show notes. I've included the full citation along with a direct link to the original article so you can take a closer look at the data, methods, and the findings. Thank you for joining me today for the Ballet Science Podcast. Whether you are a dancer, teacher, student, or simply curious about the mechanics behind movement, I appreciate you being here today. Each week, we'll explore the intersection of science and ballet, from injury prevention and biomechanics to nutrition, mindset, and everything in between. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow this podcast, leave a review, and share it with your friends and dance community. If there are specific topics you'd like to hear about in future episodes, feel free to share them in the comments below. You can also follow Ballet Science on social media and visit our website at ballet.science for additional information. Thank you again for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the Ballet Science Podcast.